Hello, this is Mr. Moser from Park Middle School. So I teach 7th grade advanced math. In short, we're trying to do 7th and 8th grade math in 1 year. So we are addressing both the grade levels, although there is a decent amount of overlap with equations and fractions, square roots, exponents. There are some new things in 8th grade that most 7th graders don't get, like scientific notation, advanced multi-step equations, and then we tend to get into the level 3, level 4 problems. And so there's 4 levels of that they want us to focus on depth of knowledge, and we do try to get to those 3 and 4 with writing. So welcome again. I'm Mr. Moser. My main priority is that you feel comfortable in math class. That's how I like your child to feel. I am very forthright. I do believe in honesty. Try to massage that a little bit because sometimes it can come off a little impersonal. And so if that does ever happen, please bring it to my attention, and I will do my best to make things better and to learn from past. Okay. So the key is to work hard regardless of the ability, however, and to have a good amount of ability in the advanced class. So I'm also here to challenge. This is going to be sent home with the students, and so they'll have a copy of this that they can share with you. And we talked about, what is a grade? I want it to actually mean something. I want it to be able to help you and the student figure out what needs to be worked on, what areas they're exhibiting strengths in, what areas might need some more work. So I do have an open grade book, which means that the grade doesn't reset every quarter. So there's no first, second, third, fourth quarter grade. They do get grades for first, second, third, fourth quarter, but they're continuous. So at the end of the first quarter, if you ended with a 95%, that's what you're going to start with. And part of that reasoning is in the past, it gets really difficult when you get an A, and then you get a C, and then you get a B, and then you get a different grade. And hey, how did they do overall this year? Like that to me is the goal. Like, how is the student doing in the 7th and 8th grade math content? And so the most important grade for me ultimately would be the 4th quarter. How did we do? And so it's a little bit different than most classes, but it has been very helpful to pinpoint because it's progressive in nature, math. And so if we're struggling with integers, we might see that pop up in fractions. We might see it later in the 2nd quarter with the equations. We could even see it possibly in the 3rd or 4th quarter. And so if we don't address our past, then it tends to creep up on us at the present or in the future. So that's why I say, hey, we can't dismiss these standards. All right, we can go back and learn them, and it might take us a little bit more time, and that's fine. But we do need to be accountable for those. Assessments are 60% of the grade, so most of the grade is going to come from assessments. iReady is a form of assessments. It's just online, and we'll go over kind of how that's graded. Student work is homework. We try to get the students to do as much as we can. I do go over notes. We do want them to check the back of the book on the odds to make sure they're doing it correctly. Kind of my thought is when I shoot basketballs, I shoot them with my eyes wide open, and after every shot, I make adjustments. If it was off to the left, I might shoot to the right. If I came up short, I might put a little bit more into it. I typically don't close my eyes, shoot 10 baskets, and then ask my friend how I did. And so I take, what I've learned in sports and try to implement that into the learning and coaching for mathematics. And so it really is beneficial. I recommend that you start, or the child starts, with the odds. And if the odds are going well, then let's jump into the evens. If the odds aren't going well, make note of it on the homework, and let's come back in and ask some questions so that we don't learn the wrong habits. We do it right the first time so that we don't have to spend time unlearning and then relearning. Okay, I did mention iReady is 15%. Warm-ups are 5%. There is no extra credit. There's plenty of opportunity to increase the grade with regular credit. And so I have had 100% in the past. It is rare, but it is possible. This is kind of how I see the breakdown, what I think my grade should mean to you and the student. If I'm saying, hey, you got an A, I'm saying at the end of the year, I think we should be able to get advanced. If we're kind of in that B range, I think it's advanced proficient, C proficient. And then we're approaching, and sometimes we're not doing as well as we would like, and we need to make some adjustments. So iReady students will have 3 diagnostic tests to complete throughout the year. This is going to be used in lieu of our CASP, or the end of the year STAR test, for accountability for the district, for the student, for the teacher. So we'll have it fall, winter, and spring. Just mentioning that the W is off. Sorry about that. And lessons are going to be assigned by me. So they can have the growth, which would, when they're done with the diagnostic, it's an adaptive test. It's going to give them difficult questions that they might not know, and that's okay. And that's going to bring their level down. And then it's going to get too easy for them, and the level will go up. And from my experience using iReady for the past 4 years, it is a pretty reliable program for finding a student's level diagnostically. It's not perfect, but it's getting you in the vicinity. Now, they can continue to work on that on their own, but I give iReady points and iReady for lessons. So we will start doing integers after the first diagnostic. Then we will do fractions. Then we will do equations, and we'll do distributive property. And so we'll focus on things we've already done. It's almost like a reteach, and it's just, once again, so the students can see it again. They can prove their mastery of it. And I do give credit if it's 70% or better, because that means it's proficient. That means we get enough of it to pass. And so I'll give the full point if we're 70% or better. And iReady is open notes. I do recommend to the students that they take notes during the lessons, and they can attempt it twice before it locks you out of the program. The only way to get unlocked is by talking to the teacher, which allows me to have that conversation with the student and do a reteach in person, either in class or after school. Now, warm-ups, not too worried about this year. We do them in the beginning, and they are remedial, and they go over like place value and rounding and things that, they come up and we have to use them in 7th grade, but they're not a 7th grade concept. And so that is going to be worth 5% of the grade. And we do go over those in class. If you are absent, please come see me for that. Assessments is probably going to be the big one here. Why? Well, because it's worth 60% of our grade. So tests are, they are open note. I'm not trying, I use notes. I am constantly looking up YouTube videos to learn how to reteach myself how to tie a tie every time I need to go out there and put that on. And so I'm constantly using notes, especially the more and more information that we're being asked to digest and then use, it grows. And so most of us have to have a reference point. And so I'm okay with that. They are open note. They do happen in class. We do have retakes. And so we'll go over the tests. I think students should do test corrections, but about a week after, that gives them time to ask questions, to do some past assignments that they may have gotten behind on. And so hopefully that allows for enough time for the student to fix any mistakes that might still be happening. In the first quarter and second quarter, I'll be happy to take the highest grade. In the third and fourth quarter, we try to get closer to high school and we start to average the scores together, because not all high schools have retakes. And so we want to start learning from the homework and the practice, which is driving us into the assessments. Okay. Any student can retake that, not just if you didn't pass. I have students who get an 85% and they're not happy with it. I have students who get a 90, 95% and they want to take it so they can get 100%. I do it in class, and I would be happy to grade that paper because I would like to see all students grow. Assignments, they do need to have all questions correct to get that point. This came because I would grade assignments based off of participation, and at the end of the chapter, a student might not do so well on the test, and a great question would pop up as to what the student could work on to improve their grade because they have 100% on homework. And as a teacher, as a parent, as somebody who likes data, that was an eye-opener the first couple of years of teaching. I go, okay, I can do this a little bit better. And so if there's any questions that need help, I want to make sure that I know that, hey, what area could you continue to work on? And so typically they'll show up as a red assignment And that lets me, that lets you, that lets the student know that there's work that needs that we still don't get all the stuff, and that's what might be catching us up on the test. And so that's why it seems a little counterintuitive. You say, okay, I ready 70% or better, you get the full point. On the assignments, I really want to make sure, since it is an open note test, that the assignments are done 100% correctly. I'll recheck them and recheck them. I can give additional problems if need be, but that's kind of how assignments go. Okay. If they do need help, I can recheck, sometimes in class, sometimes not. So 15 minutes after school, we are here available to help. Okay, so here's some things that you can do if you get behind. We can ask some questions. We can self-reflect. What's kind of holding me back? What's going on? We can use some online help, and I will assist the students with that in class. We can seek help after school. Some things that I would discourage us from doing is please don't give up. Instead, let's create a plan. If you need help with that, call me, text me, email me. Sorry. And we'll work on it. I like to be solution oriented. I try not to give the students outs. I'm not a big fan of complaints. Doesn't mean I don't complain, but I have rarely solved a problem from complaining. So I do like them to, if you're gonna make a complaint, great, let's follow it up with a question of how can I fix this? How can I make it better? Instead of just making statements about how we feel. Okay. Growth mindset. This is a big one at our school. I'm a big fan of it in my personal life as well as here at school. So this is kind of the example I use. If you bake a cake and you accidentally use salt instead of sugar, I don't think you're a horrible baker or a horrible cook. I think you just messed up one piece. Let's figure out what it is. Let's tweak it a little bit. Let's try it again and see if that doesn't fix the issue. Okay, so I find myself learning from my mistakes constantly. I'm okay with that. I've learned to accept that, and I do want to model that in my classroom. So please be the change you seek. Stay behind 6:30 to 7:30. We do have questions and answers. Click on the link from Teams that was sent out by the administration, and I'd be happy to do my best to answer any questions that you may have. If you just would like to see me, that's fine as well. I'll be there. And thank you for your time. Thank you for trusting me with your students, and have a great time.